Hey, did you know that 52% of males between the ages of 40 and 70 have erectile dysfunction? This means they were unable to engage in intimate contact on a daily basis. It's understandable that there are numerous sexual enhancement pills or sex pills for guys to test on the market. Do these really function? Do you want to test it? We'll go into great detail about it, so don't forget to press the subscribe button and leave me a big thumbs up if you like it. As a disclaimer, I would like to say that I do not endorse any of these supplements. However, I am aware that some people do use them, and I would want to encourage you to do the same since I believe it is crucial to understand what you are putting in your body. Consult a doctor to receive a diagnosis and have your erectile dysfunction assessed. Malfunction may be an indication of more severe issues, such as cardiac issues. It may also enable us to identify further illnesses or issues affecting our blood vessels. There is no such thing as a drug or supplement without negative effects, so it's crucial to do that. Additionally, I will also give you FDA-approved medication for erectile dysfunction. I see a lot of guys who come into my office who have tried some sort of gas station pill, some rhino pill, or something else before finally seeing a doctor about their rectal dysfunction. We know people think these supplements are all natural, and they are, but I don't know what goes into them, and they all also have side effects, so that's not a reason to forego seeing a doctor. Visit the FDA website before attempting any over-the-counter medications. The warning list is a comprehensive list of drugs that are on the naughty list. Since they either include ingredients or have ingredients that aren't declared. These aren't meant to be taken under a doctor's supervision like the. Please refrain from using erectile dysfunction drugs as a result. These drugs are not secure. The main problem with all of them. The FDA does not, in reality, have any control over dietary supplements. There is no regulatory agency examining the ingredients listed on the label and contrasting them with what is actually present in the tablet. You must be extremely cautious because even while the components I'm going to discuss today might be safe for you, they might not be what's actually in the tablet. I am aware that some of these are rather pricey. Back then, the price of drugs like sildenafil or Cabela, which were more costly and were referred to as Viagra or the blue pill, was higher. Consequently, obtaining those medications was prohibitively expensive, but they are now accessible. They are available in generic form, so if you visit a doctor, you can obtain one. Frequently, couponing programs or. Because of this, it shouldn't be. Getting drugs to aid with your erections first is unaffordable. The label for the drug we're going to talk about, Libido Max, reads, I haven't utilized the drug, which is advertised as a male enhancement supplement. I visited the website and was unable to locate any information on a doctor, so I'm not sure if the assertion that the drug is supported by the website is also accurate. I'll read it straight from the webpage. Because it is stated that this product includes a chemical that is known to cause cancer, birth defects, or other reproductive damage in the state of California, I would immediately advise against using it. Several medications have previously been connected to cancer. L-arginine is the first active component in this medicine. You're going to. This is a precursor that is mentioned in many drug reviews that we read. It is known as nitric oxide, and nitric oxide is a crucial element of it is a person's capacity to achieve an erection, so what transpires is when you produce nitric oxide. Nitric oxide causes the blood vessels to dilate so that more blood can flow through them. Nitric oxide therefore does not cause tumescence or erection. This suggests that yes, in theory. L-arginine is a crucial component and may help with erections. They conducted research on this particular component and discovered that the information is 5 mg of L-arginine taken daily may be beneficial, although this is most likely the case for those who. Therefore, it aids in opening up those vessels if you already have some vascular illness. This may have an impact on those with cardiovascular disease or other blood vessel conditions. Be helpful to them. There are a lot of unforeseen repercussions as well. When you look at the individual ingredients, however, you will discover that these tablets appear to indicate any negative effects, such as you might consequently have cramps, nausea, bloating, or abdominal pain, among other symptoms. When you take this drug, you also take it. If you have a history of asthma or a reactive airway illness, you might want to take this with caution because taking anything with it can potentially make these conditions worse. L-arginine is also included in it. You should stay away from it if you have low blood pressure, liver illness, or any other genetic disorders. If you experience any of those issues, these drugs may be able to help. Horny goat weed is the next active component in this medicine. You could occasionally see this component labeled as horny goat weed, or you might occasionally see it labeled with the medium as the first word. How this works? Urine is the active component of this plant, and this active component to have more nitric oxide accessible to have an erection, it helps to improve nitric oxide synthesis. There hasn't been a randomized controlled study, therefore this particular plant extract hasn't been compared to anything else. To determine if there is actually a benefit, we are trying sugar tablets or placebo pills. Horny goat weed has a low bioavailability, poor absorption, and a brief half-life. I don't really know if this is effective, but in theory, that's how it works. What does that mean then? As a result, when you take this drug or this specific ingredient, it doesn't stay in your system for very long. As a result, when it doesn't truly enter your bloodstream, it serves a purpose and is likely ineffective. In addition, some people worry that using it for a long time can make them feel lightheaded. It can occasionally result in nausea, dry mouth, and in truly bad situations, if you take a lot of it, muscle spasms or other problems. Thus, you must exercise caution when using all of these medications. Despite the fact that I keep referring to supplements as drugs, these are not. The Food and Drug Administration does not have any authority over medications. If you have horny goat weed, you should take anything it contains with caution. Reduced blood pressure. The following active component in this specific product should be avoided if you have any clotting issues or are using any blood thinning drugs. Yohimbe, the dietary supplement, is made from the bark of an African tree. Also, it functions in two different ways. It has a central effect, thus it is effective. Additionally, it affects the brain and suppresses the receptors that lessen excitement for sexual activity. Increases nitric oxide production. There has been research on this, although it only included A. It had a little sample size, so it wasn't powered or big enough for me to really notice a difference between taking Yohimbe and simply an ordinary pill. Therefore, if you're taking it, we don't know if it's totally effective. If you take any supplements that include Yohimbe and have a psychological vulnerability to the sword, you must be cautious. If you are suffering anxiety, I already experience it. This could be a concern for you if you have diabetes or any kind of heart issues. It can be risky for you to consume this kind of supplement ingredient for a variety of reasons. The male supplement is the one we'll be reviewing next. There are two specific active components in this. Pomegranate is the first. Pomegranates were found in a study to actually boost erections. Because it is believed that pomegranates include an antioxidant that can enhance the body's defense mechanisms, we are comparing males who drank pomegranate juice daily for 4 weeks to those who did not. This indicates that nitric oxide production increases during exercise. However, they didn't really locate any in this study, making it unable to have an erection. If you're taking anything, I don't think it truly works either if you're drinking pomegranate juice every day for. If you take certain drugs, you should exercise caution when drinking pomegranate-infused beverages that the liver processes, or if you have high blood pressure because the following component can interact negatively with many blood pressure medicines. I wouldn't mail extra because I don't believe we covered it with that L-arginine. The following supplement that we'll examine is U. The FDA has not reviewed any representations made by Virectin and Virectin, according to a disclaimer on the company's website. Moreover, the supplement's purpose is not to identify, treat, prevent, or cure any illness. Again, they are trying to, so act with caution. They undoubtedly shield themselves from any obligation, but once more, these. I'm not particularly impressed thus far. Despite the fact that some research suggests the chemicals you already use may be promising, let's see what this one says, since nothing is a sure thing and nothing is conclusive. This one contains horny as well as L-arginine, which we previously discussed. Additionally, it contains a chemical called maca. There is a study on maca where they gave it to 57 men and compared it to they discovered a placebo or took some sugar pills and discovered that it increased sex drive. Maca is a Peruvian root vegetable that is comparable to a radish. The good thing with maca is that there aren't many. At least one set of side effects or contraindications has been documented with this. In a brief trial, we discovered that it was somewhat helpful once more and may be useful, but we're not really sure. Specific component: there wasn't a whole long litany of things to look out for the next day, but the most common ones are typically moderate and gentle. Perhaps minor irritation, gastrointestinal cramps, and occasionally insomnia. Ginkgo biloba is the primary component, and it is derived from the leaves of. Traditional Chinese medicine has long employed the ginkgo tree, a Chinese tree, including ginkgo biloba, which they claim to be the mechanism of. Nitric oxide is now more bioavailable as a result of this activity. In a study that employed ginkgo biloba and compared it to a placebo, researchers concluded that there was actually no statistically significant difference between the two. So, I don't believe this to be the case. Numerous things have been reported. There is a lot of worry, or risk, and it might not work with a lot of other drugs. Pharmaceuticals for psychological disorders, anxiety, and if they are combined with certain substances like St. John's wort or melatonin can result in what are known as hypomanic symptoms, so you must take precautions if you don't want to act negatively or become overly awake, energetic, or do things that are out of character for you. The following one is Max Performer, which uses the same exact. The FDA states exactly what it says in a public statement on its website. Neither has examined nor supports any of the statements, and this is not meant to. Therefore, it is done for liability considerations once more. However, it makes clear that the FDA does not oversee this, therefore this supplement has. It contains 3 primary active ingredients: maca root powder, which we already discussed, horny goat weed, and Korean red ginseng, commonly known as Panax ginseng, which is also believed to stimulate production of nitric oxide and, surprisingly, it has been researched fairly well. In this study, they looked at 90 men and discovered that it was 60% effective, meaning that of those who were, they had an increase in penile rigidity girth for the duration of the study. They only looked at a small number of patients, and in all these studies, this may not be really focused on healthy men with erectile dysfunction, applies to people who have other comorbidities. So, how successful is it? Although it has been investigated, there are some very serious negative effects. In this case, insomnia is the leading and most frequent adverse effect, and you must be extremely careful when taking this with any kind of stimulant, such as caffeine or Sudafed products. Your heart rate may actually increase rather quickly, you know. If you have a medical condition of any kind, you must also take it with caution. As a result, having diabetes or having lupus can make this inappropriate for folks who have those disorders. The following addition is advised and weave. All of the primary components in this product that are active have already been discussed. They consist of ginkgo biloba, medium or horny goat weed, and other plants. Ginseng root extract, pomegranate, and the final dietary supplement we'll talk about are. It's interesting to note that this specific supplement has undergone there is an article that specifically addresses this issue. He uses the formulation on males who are taking a placebo and compares the results. An Indian pharmaceutical company provided the funding for this particular trial. They chose 76 men at random. They instructed them to take 2 Vigor X tablets or a placebo and monitor their results. They discovered that there had been progress in 5 different domains. The good thing about this particular drug or supplement is that it has been well researched, and this research was published in the biomedical literature. These include erectile function, orgasmic function, sexual desire, intercourse pleasure, and overall contentment. This specific supplement is recommended by a doctor I was able to locate in. He goes by the name of Dr. Stephen Lamb, and he oversees Google's Men's Health Initiative. Given it was examined in this precise formulation and is likely being sold in that formulation, I think there is some validity to this supplement. If you're going to try one, this would be a decent choice since they also didn't find any. Although they just examined an average healthy male in this study, there were extremely substantial negative effects. If you have any medical conditions or comorbidities, you should consult your doctor so they can determine whether this is risk-free for you. Seeing your doctor can be really beneficial, but what I do believe is crucial is that men's health and the capacity to have normal erections are extremely important. So if you're anxious or worried that this is something, please don't wait. We're pleased to assist because we do it every day. So if you have reptilian malfunction, please visit a doctor so we can. If you've ever taken one of these tablets, please leave a comment below to let me know how it went for you. Never forget to look after yourself.